Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters, viewers and listeners. And this is episode 12. Celeste and I are going to be talking about one of our all-time favorite movies, People Will Talk, which was it came out in 1951. It's based on a play, which is a German play, and the playwright it was Kurt Getz. And that play, I think, was just named Dr. Praetorius. But it's about the medical profession and other related things. So Cary Grant is in it, Jean Crane, Walter Slezak, Hume Cronin, Findlay Curry, and then the guy that plays uh, Jean Crane's father is Sidney Blackman. I just really like him.
Yeah, I do too.
Um, yeah, or a
He has
black,
played a
maybe
lot
it's
of
Blackmer.
he has
He's
played
a
a lot of interesting roles.
Yeah, he's a great character actor.
Yeah, he really
So,
is.
so I've been thinking, as you said before we started recording, when you watch something and you know you're going to talk about it, you think about it differently or you notice things differently.
Right, right.
And one of the things it said in the trivia, which the very first scene in the movie is Hume Cronin and Margaret Hamilton,
Hamilton, yeah.
and she comes in and he is investigating. We find out he's investigating Dr. Pretorius, and we don't. And one of the things that's in the trivia is we don't know where the authority came for him
No, right,
for him to
right.
do this.
It's is what role does he have other than professor at this medical school?
Right. And
It's unknown.
yeah, and I'm not even sure how many, because we never know how many classes Dr. Pretorius teaches at the
Right.
university. And we don't even know what state this is in. Although Barry, when we were watching it again, Barry said, I bet you it's in New York. And it's in the southern part of New York is where he was
That's what I think.
practicing
Yeah,
and had his shop, his
yeah.
butcher shop.
If they
Uh,
talk about this small town and kind of give a overview of what location it could be, which
Right.
is
And
around
then
New York area.
they never say the state, but Barry says it has to be close to the Canadian border because that's where Findlay Curry's character comes from,
Right, right.
Canada. So, we don't know where Dr. Pretorius went to school. It might have been in Canada. I don't know. But it could have been just, someplace north and he
Yeah.
had a relationship with people on the other side of the border. I don't know. Then none of that is discussed. But yeah, so Joseph, we were just talking too.
You froze up.
Joseph L. Mankiewicz was the writer and the director of this movie. And we're going to make a connection to Turner Classic Movies because Joseph L. Mankiewicz was Ben Mankiewicz's grand uncle, I think, or
I think a
uncle.
grand uncle, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, grand uncle. He was a
Yeah.
grand uncle.
Yeah. Ben
And
Mankiewicz, who is the host, the main host of TCM, absolutely
right.
has deep Hollywood ties.
Yes. His grandfather wrote Citizen Kane, so he has really
Yeah.
deep ties.
Deep
And
ties.
so yeah, and so Joseph Mankiewicz, I love his take on this movie
Yeah. Me too.
that we were also talking about themes that the doctor and hopefully I'll have
Excuse me.
a little snippet of the movie where Dr. Pretorius is saying, you know, the medical profession should be about helping people get well, not knives and pills and, stuff like
Right.
that.
Right. Right. And he makes it very clear, you know, he really studies and concentrates on how you're feeling, what your emotions are. He makes that
Right.
very clear. So he has created um, a hospital of his own,
Right. The
and
clinic.
he
Yeah.
treats the patients very differently. I find it interesting. It goes to show you the conflict that the medical profession has with him, because even his nurses that
Right.
work at his hospital, he has to correct on several occasions.
Yeah.
Their attitude towards healthcare, like one of the discussions that I absolutely love is the woman who's in charge of the kitchen and serving the
Yes.
food to the patients. She's like, "Ugh, not everyone is on the same schedule, and we should all be on the same schedule because it just makes it more organized for the kitchen, for us to serve the food at all the same time." And he goes, then you don't care about the patients. What
Yeah.
if they're not ready? And
Yeah.
she just rolls her eyes like, oh God, Dr. Pretorius,
And he
he's
says
only
if you have
got
to
his certain
economize,
way.
yeah, if you have to economize, economize in the doctors,
Yeah, he goes,
for the,
make the doctors have a
yeah,
schedule, but not the
because
patients.
yeah, because he
We're
doesn't want them
here
to
to
be
help them.
awakened. He doesn't want them
Yeah.
to be awakened from a health giving
If
sleep,
they're
I think.
sleeping. And
Yeah.
he also brings up the bathing schedule
Yes.
in the same time. If
Right.
they're not awake, it's not time to bathe them.
Right. Exactly.
And the
Yeah.
nurses get
So,
really frustrated with this because they want it to be, and I'm sure that has to do with their training.
right. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure in their
Yeah.
training, it's everything must work like clockwork. That
Right.
is your job to make sure that happens.
Right.
So it's not like he could hire anyone that was trained any differently because they weren't.
Right.
And so I'm sure it's a bit of a conundrum for these nurses to want to be such good nurses and to do such order, but
Well, even the doctor that he talks to,
right.
the doctor brings up this report, and Cary Grant
Yeah.
looks at it and he goes, "Oh, what was her emotional? Oh, she
Yeah, what was
cried
her
all through
emotional
it." And he
state?
goes, "Well, have her laugh through it next time. Give it to
Yeah.
her again. Have her laugh." And the doctor's like, "Okay."
He's like, yeah, very perplexed, and
I
then,
didn't.
this whole process of, hey, patient such and such is not very happy and she's cranky, and the nurse is kind of like, you need to go talk to her. And he's like, okay,
Yeah,
goes in. The woman is so afraid of dying.
yeah,
And then he, describes dying and listen. And she's like, you make death sound like it's so beautiful and so peaceful. And he goes, well, when I was a kid, I got in an accident. I was in a coma. I was near death. And this is what I experienced was this beauty and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh,
and he's
you
I
know,
love it though when she says that about you make dying so pleasant. He goes, "I wouldn't want, don't tell anyone, I wouldn't that
yeah.
want that to get
Don't tell anyone.
around."
Don't let that get around. Yeah.
It's just
But it's so
amazing.
great because they show the nurse standing behind him with
Uh-huh.
a smile on her face.
Yeah.
It's like she is a part of his staff that gets him.
Yes. Yes.
She thinks he's
Yeah.
just wonderful how he speaks with these patients.
Yeah.
But then of course we find out,
Oh,
Hume Cronin's character is investigating him, trying to get all this dirt on him before he
right.
came to this community, created the hospital.
Right.
He's obviously very, very gung ho and venomous in how he feels about Dr. Pretorius
Yes.
and envious. You can tell the envy is most
Oh,
certainly there
yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's so
Because he's
hugely popular.
popular.
Oh, he's hugely popular.
Yeah.
And then, he gets the phone call, hey, the students are waiting for you in the room, in the classroom. And he's like, well, I'm busy because he's talking to this woman who has the dirt on Dr. Pretorius.
Yeah.
And of
Margaret
course,
Hamilton's so funny in that scene. I
oh,
love her.
she's so great. And then, he asks about the companion that Dr. Pretorius always has with him, uh, Gunderson, and
Shunderson.
yeah, Shunderson, excuse me, Shunderson. And he's like, and she goes, oh, because, the whole time she wants this door open because, oh, we're not going to have anything bad happen behind this closed door. Then she goes and closes the door. And so Shunderson is always quiet. You can tell he's very loyal to Dr.
Mhm,
Pretorius.
mhm,
And then
mhm.
they get to the classroom. This is one of my favorite scenes too, where they have a cadaver on the table, And the
It's an
gentleman
anatomy
who,
class.
oh, yeah, it's an anatomy class, and she is the core, the body that they will be,
Nice.
examining her organs and, doing the dissecting
Right.
on. And the student comes back and tells him, he's not going to make it. And so the doctor goes, well, I guess if, Dr. Pretorius says, I guess if any of you want to hear what I have to say, and all the students are like, we'll listen to anything you say. Whatever you want to talk about, we're listening. And that's where you see the contrast
Yeah, and
of,
of the two men.
Hume Cronin and he, because, he said, well, he would never allow anyone else to be late
Right.
and not show up to class, but here we are.
Yeah.
So, he takes that sheet off of the court, and it's a young woman.
Yeah.
And I
Which
love
I
how he
forgot to
said,
give I forgot to give the description. So one of the things that is
oh, yeah,
happening is that one of the people in the class is well, she's auditing the class, Jean Crane's character, and she and the corpse actually kind of look alike. I'll put the stills
they
of the
do.
two of them
They
for
do. I
later.
think they look
But
alike.
so
Yeah.
we find out that she's pregnant by her boyfriend who was in the military and somehow died. And
Well, when did the Korean War start?
he might have been but I think it was a
Yeah,
training accident that he died in.
could very well be.
But
So anyway,
so that's
he
part of the
talks
story
about,
too.
yeah, he talks about the essence of this person that they will never know
Right.
because her spirit has moved on. He says, but we don't know if she loved, if she laughed. I love how he talks about her as a being other than
Right.
just a body,
Right.
and just the organs that they will be
And the
dissecting and examining.
muscles and the yeah. Yeah.
Right. And it's so beautiful because there you get that first introduction of who he is
Yes.
and what makes the students so deeply interested in what he has to say. Because you can tell right away he does not, and this is another thing in this movie, here it is. It was a play first, and then it's this movie, so it was way ahead of its time
Yes.
for the way that he looks at his practicing
Yeah,
medicine.
because I never thought of it until just now when you were talking, but he has a more Eastern medical way of
Yes,
looking
he does.
at
Right.
how
He
to deal
really
with
does.
people and their illnesses
Yeah.
and
Yep.
yeah,
Very natural, very, way, I mean, because, we had an uncle who was a doctor.
right.
And Uncle Joe used to, when we would get together and stuff, he would say, "Huh, the things they're doing in medical school now, we would have just loved to have had when I went to medical school in the 40s
Yeah,
after World War II."
right.
You know, he said, you just learned these basics. He says, now they're, and then of course he went into osteopathy. He didn't, he wasn't, he was more on the non-traditional end of things as well,
Right.
Uncle Joe.
Right.
So that's maybe part of what this is more on that end of it with
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Pretorius. Um, but he
Yeah.
most certainly, it's kind of surprising that his clinic isn't as full, it shouldn't be more full because of the word probably got out on how this man treats you
Well, when he
as a
goes
whole
in at
person.
night, I'm gonna jump ahead and then we'll go back. When he goes in at night to see Jean Crane's character, there are lots of people in the beds, lots of
Well,
women,
it's interesting because
because
during this whole scene,
he's a gynecologist. We should say that.
well, I think he's a general practitioner because he says if you want to go see a gynecologist, you should go do that.
No, if you want to
However,
go see what
uh,
is it when you're pregnant?
yeah,
That doctor,
and he says, but you can
obstetrician,
do whatever you want, obstetrician. So we're missing a big point here. While he's talking about this cadaver,
right,
she faints in the classroom,
right,
and everyone surrounds her. Oh, they're freaking out. And then he says, well, how are you feeling now? And she says, oh, silly. you know, he
Yeah.
says, well, you probably should go see a doctor just to see what happened here. And then they have a brief conversation, and he makes sure she's okay. And of course, she's looking at him a certain way because, well, he's him. But
Yeah.
I think she realizes how vastly different he is.
Yes.
She gets that point rather quickly that he is not your typical human being, not
Yeah.
just, not let alone him being a doctor, but he is very, very different in how he cares for you.
Right.
And that makes an impact
So
on her.
so when she goes, so then later we a little bit later we see him at the clinic, and he's gone on his rounds and stuff, and then we find out she has gone to him to get a blood test to see if they can find out what it is, and he tells her that she's pregnant. Now her reaction immediately, he knows, oh, she's not married. And they have this really interesting little conversation just before she leaves, which is very, very subtle because they had to get it past the
Oh, yes.
censors.
Well, when you talked to us this morning, I felt suddenly that you could help me somehow.
How?
You seem to care so much more about people than just any doctor would, and so
So you came to me for help, and all I did was talk to you some more.
there is nothing I wanted from you, Dr. Pretorius, that would have affected your conscience in any way.
Not even the tiniest hope that perhaps for your father's peace of mind?
I wouldn't want to buy my father's peace of mind at the cost of yours.
And it's all about he thinks maybe she was hoping he would perform an abortion.
I think so.
You
And that's the
for
impression I get from that conversation.
Yeah, but
Because, she
so
proceeds to
subtle.
tell him she had a brief relationship.
Right.
Guy was in the military. He had to leave. It all happened so fast. She
Yes.
doesn't even remember how everything happened. It happened so fast. And
Yeah.
she believed that she was in love. And then, she got notification that he had died. And
Yeah,
then
and
what is she?
he was in medical school, so that's why she
Right,
was in the class, auditing the class.
right.
But yeah, so she got word that had died, and I love this line. She says, I didn't want to be afraid, and that basically that's why I had sex with him." And he goes, "The things we do when we're afraid to be afraid."
Afraid to be
Such
afraid.
a great quote.
It is a great quote. And I think the first of all, and I know I say this all the time, Mankiewicz did such a beautiful job choosing this cast.
Yes.
And I think he knew that Cary Grant had this way about him naturally where he could play this character so seamlessly.
Yeah.
It was not a struggle, I think, for Cary Grant to think outside of the box to portray Dr. Pretorius
Right.
because he does it with such ease and such grace, and it almost as if it's who he is.
Right.
This is just a natural thing for him. And, you
It wouldn't
know,
matter what he did, what profession, he would care about
right.
people.
Well, and then, it goes on to, you know, he tells her she's having this child. They have this, I mean, the way they were able to do this dialogue to
Yeah.
absolutely, she wanted to ask him that, but knew that she couldn't. And,
Yes.
this moral conundrum, right,
Right.
is so well played out in that scene with both of them.
Yeah. And when she
And
talks
he
about her
realizing
father,
how much more she needed from him, but he wasn't even perfect at it.
right. And because when she talks about her father and how
Oh
her
yeah.
father, she couldn't have the baby because of her father, he misunderstands and thinks that her father wouldn't approve. He
Oh,
doesn't.
or he was mean somehow. He was a
Right.
cruel man.
He doesn't understand the whole situation until
Right.
he
Well,
goes,
the other thing we have to understand, you have to explain why she ended up in the hospital.
right.
So she leaves, she leaves and like, okay, I got to deal with this. I got to figure out to deal with it. And he's talking with his nurse, and and she says something to the effect of, well, she's a grown woman. She got herself into
Miss
this.
Higgins, make another appointment?
Miss Higgins?
Sorry, I meant Mrs. Higgins, of course.
No, Doctor. She left without saying a word.
Sometimes, Shunderson, it seems to me that half the women who come in here want babies they can't have, and that the other half...
She's old enough to know what she's doing and to take what's coming to her.
I never want to hear you say anything as idiotic and heartless as that again.
But, Doctor,
For one thing, you're a nurse, and for another, you're a woman. I'm ashamed of both of you.
And that's really forward thinking for the time period of this film.
Right. Yeah.
That he, a man, has to tell a woman, don't you dare talk about another woman that way.
Yeah.
That she knew what she was getting herself into.
Yes.
You know, and that just goes to show you how deep rooted women being poor choice makers, the vixen, so to speak.
They bought
was
into the
still so there.
patriarchy. They bought into the
Right.
patriarchy. It was
And so she, you know, he was not involved in any of that. So
Right.
they hear a gunshot. You find that she had tried to kill herself. And her name is Deborah, by the way.
Deborah.
And he's Noah Praetorius. And so he, you know, he does the surgery to remove the bullet. And he goes, luckily, nobody knows really where the heart is.
Yeah. Well, it might have been just a flesh wound. So there might not have been, but he had to stitch her up.
Yeah. I mean, he was in scrubs and everything. So
Yeah.
then he admits her to the hospital, blah, 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 comes in to see her. Because
Well,
you can
first
tell
off, I want to go back because before he goes to see her at night, Finley Curry comes in and he says, they talk about why she did it.
Right.
And
Right.
Finley Curry is the one who says, if she has no one to support her, then she's going to try it again.
She's going to try it again. Right. And you see this is Shunderson, his companion.
Right.
You see how deeply empathetic he is.
Yes.
And there's a real reason beyond what you find out later in the movie why they continue to be companions.
Right.
Because they trust each other.
Right.
They have
exactly.
this mutual trust of each other that is
Right.
so deep rooted, and it's never questioned, other than I love that Dr. Praetorius does not feel like he owes anyone an explanation of why he has this companion.
Right. It's
his own private life. Why should I have to explain to anyone who my friend is?
Right.
So he does. He has his friend who he's had a meal with, Walter Slezak, who is also a professor, and he also plays in the orchestra, and they had a rehearsal. And I love this conversation that they have before Dr. Pretorius goes to see her on the...
I've known you intimately for 10 years, and I can't even guess at what you were up to the day before I met you.
Suppose I told you all. Could it affect our friendship?
Of course not.
I'm glad to hear that. You know, it's not much to have a friend who knows all about you. But one who's a friend even though he's not quite sure, that's worth having.
And will you tell me just this? About the bat.
The bat?
I thought you knew that's what they call him. Shunderson.
Who calls him that?
Why, the students, the faculty, even the staff at your own clinic.
No, I didn't know. There's not a proper name for him.
I love that he doesn't really ask him any further questions. If he says that your life is impeccable, you've done good things, that's all I need to know about you, my friend.
Right.
And so he takes him to the hospital, goes and sees her. Oh, wait, don't they? Yeah, goes to the hospital, goes and sees her. She doesn't really want to talk to him. She's kind of still embarrassed about what she has done.
Right.
And I think that's when he makes the choice. I have to go meet her family.
Yes.
I need to see what all of this is about. It's got him very curious.
Yes. Her reaction to him.
Her whole reaction.
Yeah.
Thing. Then he goes back to his home and has dinner with his professor friend, and they discuss her.
Yeah.
And he tells her in the hospital, no, you're not really pregnant. It was a mistake. They're back at the house and they're talking about it. And he goes, no, she really is pregnant. He goes, oh, Guess you're going to have to find a way to let her know that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a very interesting
Yeah.
predicament.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he gets the phone call that she has left the
Disappeared.
hospital.
Yeah. But I love it. And then we get to see him going with Shunderson to where she lives, which is about an hour and a half away from the
Yeah, it's a bit away
university.
because it's on a farm. I
Yeah.
mean, they
And the
find that they're on
minute
a farm.
he meets her father, I think he and starts talking to him, he realizes why she did what she did and why she can't have the baby because her father is dependent on her uncle who owns the farm.
Yeah.
He's had some sort of uh mental breakdown or emotional, maybe it's
Or
really more
something.
emotional.
Something happened where he felt there was a major incident. Well, first of all, he lost his wife
Right.
at a young age, and he
Yes.
pretty much had to raise his daughter on his own, but he wasn't financially successful, so it was difficult. And then his brother brought them in.
Right.
And he was this, he was also making money off of the government, which gets brought out.
Right.
And
We're
and
not.
you can see what a horribly disrespectful man he is.
Oh, they're totally opposites, the
Oh,
brothers.
it's like, that's your brother? And the woman who is his cook and everything, she's a big crank butt.
Oh,
And
she
the other
is.
thing, it's interesting, when they first get to the farm, that dog
Yes.
is scary.
Beelzebub.
Beelzebub. And he goes, why do you name him Beelzebub? Because he's an evil dog. And then of course Shunderson immediately takes to the dog. And
Yes.
I love what he says to Cary Grant. He just wasn't loved and treated well. He's
That's right.
afraid. And
Yeah.
that word fear comes up again.
Yes.
The dog is afraid.
Yes.
He just needs to be loved. And then for the rest of the scene, he's petting the dog, and the dog does not leave Shunderson's side.
Right.
It's so
Yeah.
lovely.
It is.
And then, of
Yes.
course, they have these interesting conversations on the porch, and then they're invited for dinner. And then they have, they're sitting in the sitting room after dinner, and,
getting an
her
earful
uncle
from
immediately wants to know, are you rich?
You make a lot of money?
John, really, I don't think you...
I don't mind telling him. Yes, Mr. Higgins, I make a lot of money as a doctor, but then I'm one of the few fortunate ones.
I'll say. We got one here in town, works night and day. Hasn't got a red cent.
If you had a teacher here in town, he'd be a little worse off than even your doctor. But then the government doesn't pay them for the patients they don't treat or the children they don't teach.
Oh, you mean like I get paid for not growing some crops? I never could figure that one out. But then, never asked too many questions about it. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. You?
I never look any horse in the mouth.
Yeah. The
And they're
uncle.
like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you asked that. And he goes, no, I'm not afraid to answer. He goes, yeah, I am. It's so funny because, as that process happens, you get that picture of the two of them, Deborah and her father, don't really have a home.
They don't. They need one.
And they don't have a place to belong.
And I love when the father suggests to Deborah that she take Dr.
Yeah.
Praetorius and show him the farm. And the minute they leave, he says to Shunderson, he's come here to ask her to marry him, hasn't he? And Shunderson says, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. And he says, Mr. Shunderson, do you enjoy music? I love music. He turns on the music, and the three of them, the dog, Shunderson, and her father,
Yeah.
are listening to the music. And then this is another really great scene. She's showing him around the farm. They're in the milk house.
Mm-hmm.
And how he at first is kind of pursuing her a bit.
Yes.
And she's a little uncomfortable and she's not quite sure. And she kind of keeps walking away from him. And she goes, well, here's the processing room. And he goes, well, you don't want to go in there because there'll be a dead end. And so she opens the door. I love it. She goes in there anyway. And then all of a sudden she's like, wait a minute, why are you here? And then
Exactly.
she pursues it. I love that scene because they
Yes.
actually show that the woman can also be a part. It doesn't have to be all the man.
Right.
And that she gets to show him in a comfortable way how she feels about it.
And there comes a time when a patient asks a doctor questions. Why did you come all this way just to see me, Noah?
I did have a reason, you know.
I know.
No, you don't. But it doesn't seem to matter at the moment.
You're being pompous again at the moment.
You'd be surprised how unpompous.
Then what are you being? Well, things do have a way of happening, don't they?
Old Mother Nature. Old Mother Nature knows best.
Yeah.
And I think it's really great.
It is. It is great. And the other thing that I have to say about this, he's supposed to be 41 when they
Yeah.
get engaged.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks later is his birthday is going to be 42. He was really 47 and she was really 26.
26.
But
Yeah.
you know, I did never really, I mean, I knew he was a
It
bit
never
older
occurred to me
than
that
her.
there was such a huge age difference. Right.
Yeah. It doesn't
But it would
really.
kind of make sense, even in reality, because he had had so much of a life during his medical
Right.
career.
Right.
You know, because we
Right.
find out later as she goes with Shunderson to shop for his
birthday gift.
birthday present, which is an enormous train set.
With
And the
3
person
trains.
I know, it's so funny. And I love it too, because when they decide they're going to get married, she's escaping like she's, and why do I have to sneak out the window? And then, the father says something to her about, well, you're going to live with us. And he goes, and I gladly will. Because he gets an immediate feeling too that he will be home with them.
I intend to live happily with you.
Yes. So it's so great because she sneaks out. Well, I kind of wanted to have a little bit more of an engagement. The dialogue is so witty. And once again, having to be very careful what they talk about and how they bring these subjects up because of the code system.
Right. Yeah.
And
I mean, just the fact that she's unmarried and she's pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to marry her and
oh, yeah. Without any question, and knows that he loves her.
And be the father for this child that is not his child.
Without any hesitation. No hesitation.
I know.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
And the impeccability of him. But you're right. I mean, there are several themes in this. There's the theme of an unwed mother.
Right.
And the vague conversation of a possible
abortion
without bringing up any of those words.
Mm-hmm.
His whole way he practices medicine holistically, wholeheartedly, with empathy and compassion, wants to heal the whole person. And the other thing I think is important too is he doesn't try to tell people that death is not going to happen.
Right.
He knows that process is there, but he wants it to be a peaceful, joyous process.
Right.
Not a process of fear.
Right. Exactly.
Which I think is really, really important in this story.
It is. Yeah.
And then there's the theme of Hugh Cronin in the background.
Right.
Wanting to dig up dirt on him about Shunderson.
And he's hired an investigator.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Yeah. And I love it when Cary Grant has this conversation with his Oh, here she comes. I love the conversation when he has these conversations with Walter Slezak is how much he just like, I don't care what anybody thinks of me.
Right. which
I don't
is
care what they think of anything I'm doing. It's none of their business.
those are the kinds of characters that I really like. And I like that
Yeah.
because there are several movies that have though they're different genres of movies, but they have that kind of
Yes.
character who knows
Yes.
who he is. He's very confident.
Right.
And he's sort of like the catalyst character for breaking up certain situations or ideas, ways of
Right.
thinking. And that's what
Right.
Dr. Pretorius is. He's the person
Right.
who is challenging the way medicine is being practiced
Yeah. Um,
at that time.
he makes a comment in his office after he has met with Gene Crane about the social expectations.
Right.
And he says it in such a way of how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, right.
It's a
Yeah.
He's like, it's just ridiculous that that society and gets to dictate how I think
Yeah.
and how you think and how we're supposed to, because in his whole idea is absolutely appropriate is I'm helping people, I care about people, I'm furthering people and humanity forward with all of those things.
Right. Yeah.
And no one gets to dictate
Right.
that I'm doing it wrong because I
Right.
know I'm not.
Yes.
That's how confident he is. He is absolutely holding up his oath of doing no harm to people.
Right. Exactly. He is.
100%. And so he is so grounded in that that nothing shakes him of that. Absolutely nothing shakes him of that.
Right. Exactly.
And, when they're having, the whole train thing is hysterical because she's buying this train and she says it's for someone's birthday. And the salesman's like, oh, well, how old is your son going to be? Oh, 42. He's
How
like,
old? Yeah, he doesn't say her son. He says, how
how old
old
is
is he going, the birthday boy going to be? Or
And he's
something like that.
42. And then you see that this private investigator, in the meantime, because it turned
Right.
Shunderson shopping, takes a picture of Shunderson. And
Right.
he's like, oh, 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 oh. And of course, he goes to tell Noah, and he goes, oh, I hope it's a good picture. Maybe we could put it in my wallet. I mean, he's like, no, no, I think I'm being followed. And he's like, oh, okay.
And he
He's
said, and
not
Shunderson
worried about it.
offers to leave because now
Right.
he's
He's like, you're not going
married.
anywhere. Oh,
Right.
I don't want to cause any problems for you. Nope, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
There is absolutely zero reason for you to leave our relationship.
Right.
So that again, his loyalty,
The
he cares
other
about him more than he cares about himself.
Yeah, and the other thing is that's interesting when they go to buy the trains, Shunderson has driven her there, and
Yeah.
the way she talks to him about, Shunderson's about to go chase down the photographer, and she comes out of the store and she goes, "Oh, do you need to go?" And he goes, "Oh, no, no, it's okay." And she goes, "Well, come on, we have more equipment than the United Pacific or Union Pacific."
Union
And but
Pacific.
it's like she treats him, Shunderson, the
Right.
way Cary Grant treats him. She
Right.
trusts him, and
Right.
no, it's like everybody else is suspicious of him, and nobody, except for Walter Slezak, nobody really. It's like, why would you be? Because he's so
What makes him so
mild-mannered, he's so
suspicious? Right.
quiet.
And how this is your thing that's so great. You're right. Is they just fit.
Yeah.
They're already a family, a community of love.
Yes. Yes.
Within the friendship that they have with Walter Sleza. I mean, she just fits in right away. Her
And
father
her
fits in
father.
right away.
Yeah.
And the trains are for them. And there's the scene where they've got it all set up on the floor and they all have their remotes that they're supposed to do. That's a hysterical scene.
It's
And Hume Cronin brings this letter.
Right.
And he wants to, you can see he's like, oh, I can't wait to give this to him myself.
Right.
And she's like, well, he can't be disturbed. He's busy. Really? I can't see him? Nope, you can't see him. This is a special night and you're not allowed to see him. And he goes, well, such loyalty from his wife. And she goes, and,
Right.
you can
Right.
tell she's like, I don't really like you. What are you about? Why are you doing this? And then, of course, he just hands the letter to Shunderson and they bring it upstairs. And, she hands it to Cary Grant and he reads through it and he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess they're going to have some sort of hearing, so to speak.
I love that he
And
tears it up.
I know, I do too. He's like, whatever. And she goes, well, the night of your concert, how dare he? And he's like, whatever. And then but she has been very emotional. And there's an incident
Yes.
that happens with the trains, and she starts getting upset, and she goes in the room and she's crying. And eventually very, very quickly, he's like, well, it's because, you're getting ready to have a child. And she's like, she mentions the date that she'll have the child. He goes, no, dear, it'll be December.
She
And
says
she's like,
December and he says September.
yeah. And she's like, no, you don't know how to count. And he's like, no, I know how to count. And then,
You're
of
not
course,
counting back far enough.
he's like, you're not. And she's just like, what? But again, we're talking about an emotional, mature movie.
Right.
And dialogue.
Right.
Because she immediately goes, oh, great, you married me because you felt sorry for me and you wanted to rescue me. And he's like, nope, I married you because I love you.
Right.
And the discussion that comes about is so great because he's so authentic.
Mm-hmm.
She gets it right away.
Yeah.
That the child will be his child.
Well, I think she's going to have to wrestle with it for a little bit, for a while.
But she does get it. She's like, okay, well,
yeah,
how are we going to deal with this? He goes, I don't know. We'll figure out how to deal with it in the next 30 to 40 years.
Yeah.
He's letting her know, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, right.
I'm here. I'm all in on this.
He keeps calling it my baby, my
baby. Yeah, what are you gonna do with my baby? And then they just declare their love for each other and the wholeness of this relationship. And
I love when Walter Slezak is out in the hall playing I like it when Walter Slezak interrupts their conversation by playing the bass.
They play his birthday because it's his birthday. But I think it's really great because he and Walter Slezak have the funniest relationship because he opens the door is like, oh, you're playing that horrible thing. And it's just and she's just like, happy birthday. It's hysterical because the other thing I like about the Walter Slezak character too is he's the opposite of Noah Praetorius.
Yeah.
He's not well put together. He has sloppy hair. He's kind of a schlump. He's hysterical. But they just get each other.
Yeah, they do.
The way he honors him
and
wants to do whatever it takes to stand up for his friend. He's all in.
Right.
And of course, it goes to, it's the night of the concert, but they also
have the hearing
before the concert.
Yeah.
Tribunal.
Yeah. I love it when the guy says, do you want to sit closer? I don't want this to appear like it's a trial.
No, we don't. But he's like, it is.
It is a trial. Right.
But I love the whole start of it, and they do such a good job because they really make it look like Hume Cronin is really older than he is. He's just an old curmudgeon,
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just so excited because he's got this little folder full of information, And once again, Shunderson is not in the room with them to begin with. And he's very concerned about what is to take place. And there's some discussions back and forth. And of course, the first thing is, tell us about Shunderson. And I love it. He goes, it's not my place to tell you about him.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't been given permission.
Right. It's not my story to tell.
It's not my story to be told.
Right.
And
then yes, and then Shunderson comes
and you start to see that he's this really great
Yeah, and then Shunderson comes in, and Hume Cronin says something like this prearranged, you know, interruption. But
Oh, he's so upset that Shunderson shows up.
yeah,
Yes.
but Shunderson goes to the president of the university and says, "I'd like to
Right.
tell my story because he's never going to tell you." And the
Yeah.
president says, "Yes, please go ahead."
Please do.
And that's when we
And it's a
find out.
fascinating story. It
It
is
is.
such, it is such a, and it's so interesting because obviously the private detective didn't do enough of his research.
No.
But I also think it may have been difficult to do the research to find out exactly how he did end up at the side of Dr. Pretorius,
Right.
because those are the things that they would not put in newspapers,
Right.
and the
Well, and
whole,
according to the newspapers, he died.
oh
He
yeah,
was
he was
executed.
dead. He
So,
had been tried for the same murder twice, which was crazy story. Don't
which,
want to give too much away on that
yeah,
one.
yeah,
And um, it's when Dr. Pretorius was a medical student
right.
and he happened to be dating the caretaker's daughter who could bring in corpses.
Yeah.
And so, he goes, I got a cadaver because I was dating her. And here I went to examine it and he bit my finger. He bit my finger. And it was like, oh, you're alive. And that's what's so great because we can tell this, but you have to see the scene as the interaction with everyone in that room,
Yes.
with Cary Grant and his few things he has to say. What a really heartfelt story it is, because they realize there's absolutely, he served his time, he got hung, he didn't die,
It was
can't be
double,
tried again.
yeah, it was double jeopardy, but they
Yeah,
somehow
right.
managed.
They somehow managed to do this and it wasn't appropriate.
No.
So, of course, Hume Cronin is angry because it's a nothing story.
Right.
And he's not this crook like he wants him to be,
Right.
you know. And the story before that, too, about how he was practicing medicine while he was a butcher.
Right.
Well, I had a medical license. I just didn't put up a sign saying I was a doctor.
You're right.
You know,
Yeah.
how is that a bad thing? Again,
Right. Yeah. Right.
So,
And you know what I love about that? You're coming up to it, but I love when everybody has left and it's just
oh yeah, I'm
Shunderson.
coming to this point, right?
Yeah.
Professor Elwell, you're a little man. It's not that you're short, you're little in the mind and in the heart. Tonight you tried to make a man little whose boots you couldn't touch if you stood on tiptoe on top of the highest mountain in the world. And as it turned out, you're even littler than you were before.
And I love Walter Slezak's character. He looked right at him. He goes, "You know what the problem with you is? You haven't had a corpse bite your finger." Prickle. But it's true because I always want to know stories after because you
Right.
got to wonder, would he be able to even want to stay at that university teaching? Because the word's going to get out that they had this hearing and it became a nothing,
Right.
because rumors get out
Right.
and, he's already not respected, because I can't
Yeah.
imagine when you have your head so full of someone else's business,
Right.
you're not improving your own life and moving yourself forward.
Exactly.
Whereas Dr. Pretorius is all in caring for every being.
Right.
And the students know that. The faculty know it.
The people at his clinic know
The
it.
people at his clinic know it. I mean, they all understand.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting that the concert starts. Hume Cronin's walking outside the building where the concert's happening. He
yeah.
can hear the music and he starts to go in the door
yeah.
to the concert.
Yep.
And he just can't do it and he turns and
He
walks
just
away.
he does such an excellent job. You feel his embarrassment.
Yeah.
You feel, but it hasn't humbled him still.
No.
It hasn't brought him to a point where I'm not quite sure he got the lesson.
I don't, yeah. Well,
Because
it's
my
obvious he
feeling
didn't
is,
because he can't go into the,
yeah, he just can't go in. So he
Right.
walks away. But we know that if he had apologized and made amends, that he would be welcomed.
right.
But he just, excuse me, he can't.
He can't do it.
He doesn't know how.
Yeah.
It's not
Yes.
in him to do those things.
It's so sad. And I've worked at places where that kind of person, the Hume Cronin kind of person. In fact, I lost a job to people like that. And and they're the ones that are celebrated. They're the ones, in this case, it's not that way. Hume Cronin's character is not celebrated.
Right.
But in real life, sometimes those are the ones that people, oh my gosh, they have all this adoration and look what they're doing and look what the good thing. And they don't realize that those people are toxic.
Right.
And that's what Hume Cronin is. He's a toxic person.
Yes.
His character is a toxic.
And this is one of those themes, again,
Yeah.
of the contrast.
Right.
Contrast on how to be this beautiful, holistic, life-giving healer.
Right.
And the contrast of everything is angst.
Yes.
Because how can you heal? How can you be a good physician, professor, whatever, if all you're thinking about is how you want to bring people down?
Right. Yeah. And it's obvious that he's like that with his students too, when they're practicing in the hall, and Hume Cronin's office is not very far from the hall where they're going to have the concert, and his window is open, and they're practicing, and he just can't listen to the music, so he closes the window, but he's grading papers, and you can tell by the way he's slashing through this, and marking that I don't approve of what this person's saying in there.
Oh, and it brings them a little bit of joy.
Oh yeah.
Hume Cronin was such a great actor because he could do so many things without words.
Right. Yeah.
And just like the way he carries himself throughout this film, it's a lot of, he's the first person you see, the very first scene is him.
Yes.
Walking down the hallway into his office.
Yeah.
And you can see right away, that is not a happy guy.
No. and his interview with Margaret, her name is Sarah Pickett.
Sarah?
Yeah. And his interview with her is not, he's just so joyous to find out all these little nasty tidbits. It's really sad. It's sad.
It is sad. It is.
Oh, he is a small person in terms of his character.
He really is. And it's that whole idea, I can't make it any farther because of you.
Exactly.
It's all your fault that I am not well liked. My practice, if he has a private practice, isn't going well. No accountability whatsoever. Zero accountability of his own choices and his own behavior.
Right.
And it's amazing how prevalent and how long those, we still have people like that. It's crazy to me to think that you're always going to have the people that just don't get it.
Right. Everything is everybody else's fault. At the beginning of the
film too, how they honor the medical practice.
Yes, that whole it's like a narration, but you read it. Yeah.
Right.
And that's probably from the play. That might
I think it very well could be. Right.
It doesn't say that in the trivia, but it might be part of the play notes.
Yeah, could be. And the thing that's so great too is this is one of those movies, of course you and I think this about all of our favorite films, that you can watch over and over again and you get something new from it.
Yes, you do.
Because of the subtleties.
Right.
There's not anything that really punches you in the face. It's
Yeah.
this really subtle dialogue. It's this subtle behavior. It's the acting in it is so fantastic. And Jean Crane was not the first choice. It was supposed to be Anne Baxter.
I know.
And
But Anne
she
Baxter
really,
got pregnant.
yeah, but she got pregnant. Isn't that funny? She got pregnant. She couldn't be in the movie.
I know,
Like,
really.
okay.
Yeah.
But you know, she really wanted to be a part of this project. And
Yeah.
and you understand why.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I mean, I like Anne Baxter a lot, but really I
Oh
can't
yes.
see her
Oh yes.
can't see her in this part. And maybe it's just because I'm already all inundated with Jean Crane's performance.
Well, Jean Crane is a delightful actress.
Oh yeah, I really like her.
Her roles are varied. She too has
Yeah.
she has a great acting
Yes.
catalog, you
And
know.
I like the relationship between her character and her father's character,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
father, because it's like they are so close.
Oh yeah. He he she doesn't see him as small. Let's put it that way. I
Right.
think
He
he
sees
sees
himself
himself
that
as
way.
small, but she knows he's not. She knows that there were just certain things that happened in life, and also too this underlying thing that his wife died. He did all these things to try to be a success. All of those things didn't happen, and he gave up
Right.
because he had to have help to raise his daughter. He
Right.
financially could not support her.
Yeah.
And he makes it clear. He says to Cary Grant, I mean, my brother pays for all of our food, all of our clothes, and her education.
Right.
He
And the
pays
other
for the tobacco that's in my pipe.
right. And he is an artist,
Right.
and artists had a really have had sometimes in unless you just find your niche.
Right.
He never found his niche. He's an artist kind of person because he said he published a book of poetry.
Right.
He was a journalist. He had a business of some sort. He doesn't say what kind, but you know, he has this way of doing things, and
Right.
his brother
Right.
is totally right.
Yeah.
Analytical.
Well, and it's interesting because his brother, to me, doesn't seem like the intelligent one,
No,
emotionally or book smart.
no.
He just does this plunging along. He's a farmer.
Yep.
He knows he's making a certain amount of money from the government because they're paying him to grow certain crops and do certain things with his cows. And
yeah, and he even says, I do the same thing every day of the year.
Yep.
Because it comes up, he had chicken on Sunday, and he says, only have chicken on Sunday, and Cary Grant's character says, Noah says to him, well, if you like chicken so much, why don't you eat it on any other, because I only have it on Sunday.
Only have it on Sunday. I do these things on
Right.
Sunday. I
Right.
go to church, you know, I read from the
Right.
good book, and I have chicken for dinner. You know what I mean? You know, and it's kind of like, wow, you're exciting. But once again, I think this is part of too that theme with Cary Grant being this, you know, Dr. Pretorius being this healer is I think he gets really quickly that Deborah is that as well. And that's why he falls in love with her.
Yes.
And not because he wants to rescue her, but those are the processes he too had to go through to think about what he really wants.
Yes.
You know, how am I going to present this to her in a way where it doesn't look like I'm rescuing her and her father?
Yeah.
Because that obviously is the automatic thing you go to.
Right.
Is his rescuer. And but he loves her independence. I mean, she talks to him in ways that most women wouldn't be permitted to talk to a man.
Right.
And she totally lets him have it. And he's like, he takes it. And
Yeah.
he's like, nope, you're right about that. I mean, they're each other's equal.
Yeah, I love it when she calls him, oh, what is it that she says?
A pompous know-it-all.
Yeah, pompous know. You are a pompous know-it-all. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a pompous know-it-all. Oh, I didn't even mean that when I said it.
I know. And then he goes, am I being a pompous know-it-all again? And see, this is the other point. To be the kind of person that these higher, I don't like to use the word higher, but these characters that have such impeccability and are authentic, there's no ego involved.
Right. Yes.
That is not engaged in his daily practice of life.
Right. Yeah.
Nor is it engaged in his practice in his medicine.
Right.
He is fully engaged in the life and death of people.
Yeah.
And what that process means. And it matters to him how you live your life and what your process is as you're dying.
Yes.
It matters to him. He cares about what you take with you.
Well, and also it matters to him how to help people heal as well.
Right.
I mean,
his
the
whole thing
spectrum.
is you can have a healing to stay alive and you can have a healing as you die.
Right.
To him, there is no separation of that.
Right.
And that is, once again, makes this movie extremely profound.
Right.
Because it was, yes, they filmed this and it was made in 1951, but this play was well before then.
Right. Exactly.
It was really ahead of its time.
Well, and it was in Germany, which they might have a different viewpoint about medicine in Germany than they did in the United States.
I mean, I think about, Freud being from Vienna. The European way of looking at medicine and mental health. I mean, there's a lot of things that we now look at Freud and go, well, that was kind of weird. But look at how he changed it.
Oh, yeah. And then Jung built on Freud's. Yeah.
And then we have Carl Jung, who, whoa, that was all European stuff that happened, where America was still so rooted in this, but when people started to study all of that, because they became quite famous, Freud and Carl Jung. So I think that's a part of what this story is their whole thing was treating the whole patient.
Yeah.
And getting to the root of why you have an illness.
Right. Exactly.
It was more than having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. Right.
And so, the way, and Uncle Joe talked about this, the way now and through the decades, as the Uncle Joe was practicing medicine, he said, oh man, I wish when I was in school, they had done more of this holistic,
yes.
How are you feeling emotionally? Let's make this socio-physical thing. Let's combine this.
Yes.
Where they never used to.
Because sometimes your emotion, the way it is now, your emotions and your mental state affect your physical body.
Absolutely. It's the whole thing. And doing what I do in the practice that I have with massage therapy, and the privilege that I have to work within a rehab facility that I do, we're getting L&I patients, workman's comp, and 100%. I mean, what we talk about as physical therapists, occupational therapists, me as a massage therapist, our topic always is, you have to be prepared that when people come in here, they're going to have trauma and PTSD from their injuries.
Right. Yeah.
And that is something that if we don't treat it together, they can't walk out of here whole.
Yeah.
And I was just, that's what is so great to see in Dr. Praetorius's clinic.
Right.
Is the patients.
Yeah.
And how they are so happy when he's going to come talk to them.
Yeah.
I'm frozen.
No,
and they're so happy about it,
I could hear you talking though.
Yeah. It's so beautiful because we now, not all doctors, obviously, but I do see our medicine has turned into much more of that. As a matter of fact, one of the doctors that is one of our providers that refers to us, he made it very clear to our clinic director and our marketing. He said, these are the things that I do in my practice. And these are the things the reason why I send people to you. Because you address all of this whole sphere of
Right.
things that happen within their trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys are providing so much more than just PT, occupational therapy, and massage therapy.
Right.
And I can tell when the patients come back and talk to me, I see the difference from when they come in here full of trauma and, halfway through or even sooner before their care with you, they're lighter, they're happier, they're healing.
Yes.
And they know there's light at the end of the tunnel. And that's
Yeah.
what Dr. Pretorius is all about. He
Yeah.
is all about that whole being.
And maybe Joseph Mankiewicz was interested in that
Right.
specific.
I think because he did such a great job filming it.
Yes. Yeah, really.
I mean, yeah, okay, so it's not a movie that's full of laughs. It's not a movie that makes you cry, but it's a movie that really gets you to go, whoa. And the pressure on women.
Yeah.
This is another theme on to be a woman in the 1950s who is single and pregnant.
Yeah.
And the pressure on her, the the whole how society is going to view her.
Right.
That's heavy. It
is
is
heavy.
a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And that is an important theme as well as, and that's why Dr. Pretorius is so important because he doesn't judge her.
No. Yeah, because he even says to her, there will be time for you to love your baby, and the time for you to be sad about the baby is if you knew you weren't pregnant.
Right.
Right. You're bringing the life of the man who impregnated you. You are bringing life to him. I mean, it's
right.
Nobody may ever know
once
that.
Again, but I mean, that's a very holistic way to look at her process.
Yeah.
And no shame.
Right.
Absolutely zero shame. He does
Right.
not treat her with shame for 1 minute.
No.
He sees her as this person who has a struggle.
Right.
And he wants to help her, but hasn't quite figured out how to help her with that yet.
Yeah.
And of course, he has to have the process of meeting her family.
Right. But also the way she stands up to him, I think he likes that.
Oh, I think he does. I think he does like that.
He challenges
She doesn't
him.
realize how much she knows herself.
Right.
Because she's immediately caught up in this pregnancy of,
right,
how is this not going to be an epic disaster? Which you're right. The way he speaks to her about that child is really like, this child could be a healing process.
Yeah.
It's not
but
a
he
thing that happens.
But he hasn't met her uncle yet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm sure, I go to church and I, read the good book and, there would be a great deal of shame that would come from him.
He would kick them out.
I think so too. And that's another thing she knows. Okay, well, I'm not doing that because that would be shame on me because I let you live with me.
Right.
And, it really is a movie of kind of really great timing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's almost 42 years old and the man has never married.
Right.
And
well, he's been building his practice. He hasn't been focused
life,
on that.
And had really, I don't think he even thought about having an intention to marry because I think his practice was very focused for him.
And fulfilling.
And very fulfilling. And, I mean, he even indicates, I've had a really great life.
Yeah.
I love my life that I've created for myself. And, okay, well, now it's time to add more fulfilling things to my life.
Right, exactly.
And it's just so done with ease.
Yes.
That's the other thing about,
you
get that. Oh, and Cary Grant does such a wonderful job of this. He's just this natural ease in he doesn't even second guess himself.
Mm-mm.
He knows exactly who he is. Oh, okay, I got to process a little bit. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. Oh, I know I love her, so I'm going to go take care of that.
I love when he says, oh, old Mother Nature knows best.
Right. We've been fighting against Mother Nature for a millennia.
Yeah. But when he
So,
falls
you
in love
know,
with her, when he acknowledges to himself that he's
he
fallen in love
really
with her,
does. And
he says
it's
that,
not
oh,
a struggle. Once again,
yeah,
it's not a struggle.
no,
He just goes, oh, well, okay. And when he says, my
right,
baby, he went, oh, okay.
right,
This is how I'm going to have a family.
yeah,
And I'm good with this.
yeah,
And I love it. I love how he has so much mutual respect for living beings.
yes.
And it is funny though, because he is afraid of that dog.
I know.
I love how he's afraid of the dog. And
I
he's like,
know.
he looks at, because the dog doesn't leave,
Right.
Shunderson's side. And he's like,
I
what are you
know, I
doing with
know.
that dog? Oh no, he's just afraid. He hasn't been treated well. Oh, okay. And then he just moves on.
Yeah,
But he
right.
is
Yeah, yeah. He has
it's
that in common with most of humanity.
yes. It's there is it's not a heavy film.
No.
But there are some very because look at us today.
Yeah,
Look at people still want to shame women for having babies and not being married.
yeah,
You know? It's this
yeah,
it's this ongoing theme,
yeah, it is.
and
Yeah.
and women are the ones that perpetuate that. Oh my gosh, if you were just a good girl, brother,
Well, not so
you
much
know.
anymore, I don't think. I think that
It's changing,
that
but I
underground
can tell you,
misogyny has kind of been broken a little
I
bit
think so too. This
for the
toxic
most part.
masculinity
Mhm.
is really breaking down.
Yeah,
And thank God.
really, really,
It's about time.
really.
Once again, we had to go through this process of our evolutionary process. We've had to go through this process of we've had to go through some pretty hard things to
Mhm.
figure out how to be compassionate and empathetic and just love each other
Yeah, we have.
unconditionally.
Yeah. And
And
that's what this movie shows.
that's what
Yeah.
this movie absolutely is about. It doesn't matter what your circumstances is. You
Right.
can be loved.
Are. Yeah.
What
Which
they
is
are doesn't matter. It's just love you through it.
right. Right.
And that's, to me, the most important theme
Yeah. Right.
is the theme of empathy, compassion, and love
Right.
unconditionally.
Wow.
And that's
That's
why it
right.
resonates with you and I so much, because it's it's poignantly, gently told.
Yes. I think that's a really great place to end this. And we should tell what we're going to see next. We're going to watch Lost Horizon. Talk about Lost Horizon from it's in the 1930s, and I just came across it again not too long ago, and it struck me how interesting it was, because the people end up in Shangri-La, and the High Lama has this speech about how humanity is evolving, and eventually, they're gonna understand about love, compassion, empathy for each
Right,
other, and community.
right.
And it was like, oh, we're kind of going through that right now. So that's why I wanted to
And
choose this one.
honestly, I'm going to bring up another film that I think we could also talk about after Lost Horizon is The Razor's Edge.
Oh, I love that one.
Because these films, people will talk
Yeah.
Lost Horizon, Razor's Edge,
Yeah.
all have very transformative, forward-thinking, advanced
Yes.
thinking
Yeah.
for their time period.
Yeah. And another one that I want, which is a total contrast to The Razor's Edge and Lost Horizon, is Keepers of the Flame. The Keeper of the
Yes,
Flame.
Keepers of the Flame. Yeah, Keeper of the Flame was one of our mom's actually favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
But I was
she
watching it the other day and I went, whoa, Project 2025. Right there in the film.
right. When you had mentioned that, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really, yeah. Well, um, these movies had to be made
Oh, yeah.
because they help us move forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ones who are ready to watch them, ready to get the message, and I believe they have helped us move forward.
Yes,
I
think
believe
so
they have.
too. Yeah.
And that's why we love them so much.
Well, as usual, Celeste and I got so excited about the movies that we wanted to talk about coming up that we forgot to say goodbye to you and ask you to subscribe, to share, to like our video. We'll see you next time when we talk about Lost Horizon. And you can go watch it before we talk about it, and then you can make comments in the comment section. So goodbye until next time.